Bonjour.
Good morning, and first of all, thank you for being here. It's very good to see so many of you here. Bill Viola and Kira Perov were very impressed, very touched to see such a good response and to see you here in large numbers. My name is Jérôme Neutre. I'm the curator of the Bill Viola exhibition with Kira Perov, who is Bill Viola's wife, and also the other figure behind the design, the presentation of these works that you're about to discover in a few minutes. And after this exchange with Bill Viola, the exhibition is the first monography dedicated to a video artist in the history of the Grand Palais. So this really is a very important event which comes as part of the programming of our president, Jean-Paul Cluzel, aimed at opening up the Galerie Nationale to all the artistic media, beginning with video. Bill Viola is unquestionably a pioneer of video art, but probably its most well-known proponent, and he has had the opportunity of presenting his work through retrospectives in different countries, across different continents, from the Moriarty Museum in Tokyo or in museums in New York, and as well as Germany, Italy, and many other countries. This exhibition is de facto the biggest of Bill Viola's work, and we're fortunate in being able to present works from 1977 to 2013 on a thematic and chronological basis. Enough said by me. I'm going to introduce Bill Viola, Kira Perov. Dear friends, and I will call on Kira to say a few words, and then Bill will speak, and then it will be your turn to speak and to have the discussion. So, Kira, over to you.
First of all, Jérôme, for being such an enthusiastic collaborator in this project. Without him, nothing would have happened. And of course, to President Jean-Paul Cluzel, who has the vision to bring an update to this really magnificent, beautiful, but old building. Ideas, and we feel very, very privileged that we're among the very first to present this kind of, well, it's not new work anymore, but new to this building in this environment. We're so happy to be here and to see one of the biggest, the biggest show that we've ever done in these amazing galleries. And I thank to all the staff here, because the staff has had to be very patient with a living artist. Normally, I'm sure they're working with people who don't make comments or changes, and they've been very patient and extremely collaborative, which has made our job much easier. But I also want to thank a member of our team, Bobby Yablonsky, who has masterminded really all of the plans and the technical needs, and working together with the architect Gail Seltzer, and with our amazing magicians from Germany, from 235 Media, Ulrich Leisner and Ludger Henning. So what you will see in the galleries is an enormous technical feat, 20 works, and one of these pieces is a gigantic 5-panel piece. It's like being in a cathedral. So to run, if you can imagine, you don't see any cables, you don't see any technical issues, nothing. Everything is behind the walls, everything is clean, everything. It's truly a magic, magic way that we've done this. And of course our galleries, Blaine Southern and James Cohen and the Cook J Gallery have been helpful as well. I'm in a unique position because I've been working with Bill since 1979, so I supervise all the exhibitions, all the productions. I'm creative collaborator now, and I also play a major role in how the works are shown. So when I have been with the work right from the very beginning of the videotaping, of the productions, I get a sense of what kind of pieces can talk to each other. And we always start with the architecture, which here was quite formidable. But then as we build the show, we listen to the pieces, we look at the images, and we see that these pieces are now creating a journey that we would like to take the viewer on. Of course, the viewer does not need to see every single frame in the show. It would be impossible. I don't think I've seen every frame in the show. But each person will take their own journey, and each person will take from the work what they need, actually. What I feel that we always try and give people, and I would like to have for myself, is actually time. Personal, private time where you can spend some time not just looking at the work, but thinking about the concepts that the work presents. And that's, I feel, is a true gift. I think it's time for Bill to talk, and he's got papers everywhere. He wants to say everything.
Bill Viola.
Thank you. Wow. I am overwhelmed by the generosity of the many people who have made this project possible. Human beings are extraordinary creatures. We can understand things in multiple ways. We understand that our lives are short. Sometimes they're too short, especially if one has not even begun to start their journey in this world. And so the many masters that have influenced me, some of whom are quite old in human time, and the ones who are still here today at this moment. This is, for me, it's a kind of journey through life with the knowledge that, of course, you will not be living forever. So humanity really consists of three things. One is the unborn, the people that will come after us, and that's a well. I think of these things as a well. A well. So you have the unborn starting here, and they haven't arrived yet. Then on the far side here, you have the dead, which we pay our respects to all the time. Everyone in this room knows someone who's passed away that's no longer with us. And these two things are eternal, the unborn and the dead. But there's another special place in this sequence of three. It's the middle one. And that's us, the living. All of us who are here today, all of us who are here on this planet at this moment in time, because time is the thing that we work with. Time makes my art possible. So the well of humanity exists in the unborn. It comes through the dead. Those two are eternal. This is temporary. And that's why we need especially to take the time to engage ourselves, to give us knowledge, to change knowledge, to discover something new that hasn't been thought about before. And you have a limited amount of time to do this in. We all know that. So that's why the human condition is so powerful. And it's so necessary. Because when you go over with Charon the ferryman, when you die, I'm thinking of the ancient world here, and Charon the ferryman comes over, and you give him a coin, and then he takes you across the river, and he's going to deposit you in the Elysian fields, which is a kind of paradise. And so when you get over into the Elysian fields, there's a baby. Oh my God. Thank you.
The baby agrees with you.
Oh yeah. Babies know more than we know, I tell you. So when Charon the ferryman goes to the other side and deposits you in the Elysian fields, the biggest problem is that when you get over there, he erases your memory so you can just live blissfully in paradise. So that's quite interesting, but the most important thing that human beings must do in their life, and this is the most important, is to leave something behind. In this room here, the dead are present, and the reason why we have knowledge is because people who came before have left that knowledge for us before they got off with Charon. So the whole point of human existence is to leave something behind, something special. It doesn't have to be really special. It doesn't have to be intellectual. It doesn't have to be spiritual. Just something. Even a young mother who is just realized she's given birth, and she's seeing her baby. I mean, that's such a precious thing. That's such a precious thing to experience. These simple, simple things. And then, of course, from there you have Albert Einstein and all these incredible people who we know through history, and that we've studied, many of us have studied it. So it's, the human force is incredibly powerful. So the biggest issue with human beings really is that individuals die. You know, there's individuals die. That's what happens. It's a kind of a reservoir of humanity. I think of that as three things, like I just mentioned. And that to me is very, it's the very essence of who we are, really. I have a few things just briefly. What's that? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I just brought a bunch of things, and of course, I'm not very organized. Kira is really super organized. I'm like, you know, I'm like, sometimes I'm in the middle of doing something and I'm focused, and somehow something in my mind makes me go sideways, and I don't know why. So I just brought a few things here. And yeah, it's really a bit chaotic. I'm very sorry, but that's how I live. Okay, so first of all, let's see which one I do.
Vous voyez là une des manières de travailler
So
de Bill.
here you see one of the ways in which Bill works. He always starts off by writing something in the morning, and there's always a lot of work involving reading, thoughts, writing behind each work, and there are 40 tons of this material for all of his work. Some of this has been 40 volumes, and some of these have been published.
But just give you just a few little things to think about. Creativity exists in all human beings. Creativity exists in animals and even insects. They are all constantly innovating things. That's this power and force to create something new from something old. That's a very important thing. My field of art is really the universal language of mankind. And it's kept alive by the human presence within all material creation. And this is another one thing that I learned from a great master, Ananda Kumaraswamy. Kumaraswamy is one of my heroes. And he said that all art is contemporary art. And it is born in radical new ideas. And that's constantly happening. And he also said artistic tradition is always present even in seemingly non-traditional times. The path for visual artists stretches back unbroken to the walls of the caves 40,000 years ago, and probably beyond that. So this well, this reservoir of humanity is quite deep and quite broad. And the inner essence of art is independent of media, old or new. It is the pathway of the image, not its material container. And that is the true eternal history of art. And then this one, sorry. Okay, here's a couple just of some of my heroes. I mentioned Ananda Kumaraswamy. He's an extraordinary person. He said, all art represents invisible things. And another wonderful quote from a dear friend of mine. Well, actually, this is also from Kumaraswamy. Museums are the place where we put the things we forgot how to use. And finally, this is a really wonderful quote. This is Ananda Kumaraswamy. And he said, "We must remember that all artistic operations were originally rites. And the purpose of the rite was to sacrifice the old and bring into being a new and more perfect human being."
Je pense que c'est la transition idéale.
So I think this is an ideal transition to move on to the discussion after this highly pertinent quote. So who would like to kick off? Well, you have microphones that are going to be handed around the room. So the gentleman behind it, then you.
Une seconde.
Just 1 second. Is it working? Is it okay?
Mr. Viola, spiritual, even mystical.
Oh, okay. Thank
Ah.
moment, I didn't know.
Do you believe in God as defined by any of the three principal monotheistic religions?
No. I leave that up to the people who are, whatever their religion is or their path. It's interesting. I've been, I talk a lot with students, and I've noticed a significant change, at least in America, but I believe it's also happening here on the continent, and I think in many places. I've noticed that the young people are not really, well, let me just put it this way. There was a survey about maybe 2 to 3 years ago, and they were just seeing what the current generation of young people were doing, what they were thinking about, and they had a big, long survey. And the survey contained 2 questions on religion. And the first one was, do you consider yourself religious? And most of the young people, the vast majority of them actually, said no. Then down at the bottom of the survey, with a lot of other stuff, was the second question about religion. And that one was, do you consider yourself, consider yourself religious? Yeah, do you consider yourself, they didn't talk about it, they said, yes, they said they considered themselves spiritual. Now that's quite a difference, okay? And I thought that was really, really strong, really focused, because I think all religions are valid, no matter where they are. And at this time, though, seeing these young people who were starting to move away from a specific kind of religion, and what they're actually doing, I realized, was they were bringing all of the stuff that they were learning in school and places, they were bringing that into themselves and sending it out again to us. It's a really beautiful thing, and I wasn't aware that that was really happening until I started to talk with these young people. And so I think a lot of young people today the new generation, I think, is going to be really pretty incredible. And I'm really looking forward to experiencing it and to see what they come up with before they have to get on the boat with Sharon and go across to the river.
Ok. Monsieur qui voulait poser la question.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Non, c'est bon.
Oh.
Second things,
Oui, ça marche.
That's
ça marche.
good. Yeah,
It's okay.
it's okay.
second thing, I wanted just to thank you. Being an opera lover,
Oh.
I have known Tristan Isolde for so many years. I know it by heart. I have seen it so many times. And then you brought something so new, which made me feel that this opera was something I didn't think it was. And it was a real pleasure, and I'm sure that many, many people who went to see this opera in the Opéra de Paris think what I think, and we all, in the name of all, I thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much.
L'opéra Tristan Isolde est d'ailleurs
The opera Tristan and Isolde is being shown at the Opera Bastille from April the 8th.
Madame va me suivre. Mr. Viola, I want to ask you about the importance of California to you, because to me you somehow personify your oeuvre, your work, just really embodies everything that California represents to me. And the other question is, last night Steve McQueen, a video artist like yourself, won the Oscar for Best Film. Do you have any plans to do feature films, Hollywood movies? Thanks.
No. No, I'm not interested in doing feature films, although I respect...
Have you seen the film?
Hmm?
Have you seen 12 Years a Slave?
No, we've been working for the Grand Palais show for the last month and a half, so 3 months actually. So and I didn't even see the Oscars or anything like that. We've been just working so that we could be here today. So, yeah, the question of California is, I'm from New York originally. That's where I grew up. Yeah, well, that's the beautiful thing about California, because when you, the people who came here originally from Europe to come to this open land in America, which had a huge, it was incredible, it was enormous, and it was mostly filled with animals and at the beginning. And then, of course, people started to migrate. It was a huge migration that created the idea of California, coming from the East Coast. People easily could get on the boat like the Pilgrims did, go across and come into this new land, which had a lot of space. And then eventually they migrated all the way across to California, to the California shore. And by that time, then people were starting to come from Asia to America. So that's how kind of America became like the global place to be, because everybody was, if the, you realize in America, like, when a person wanted to have a house and stuff like that, or when the family, let's say the family was, working with the father, and then the father gave the son, the father gives his son the farm, but then the other people in the family don't get anything else. So at a certain point, they went to America, because it was only the first son was going to get the farm. And so we had this big migration of people coming from all across the new, they created a whole new a place where people could just get on the boat and go to another place, completely place, which didn't have all of these rules all the time. And that's what made this American idea of it, like it's free and open and everything.
But in terms of California in particular, I'm not sure if you mean about the landscape, but one of the reasons why we came was because there's a beautiful ocean, there are mountains, and in particular we were very interested in the desert.
Yeah.
And so we have made, but the deserts in Tunisia we made work all over, but you will see definitely some landscape from California.
Madame.
Yeah.
It's the mysticism, the connection with nature, the sort of almost not reversion, a revival maybe of sort of the hippie period, you know, where people just don't have the same kind of materialistic values that they do elsewhere. You know, it was more the attitude and the state of mind I was asking you about.
We also lived in Japan for a year and a half, so there was a lot of influence from the Japanese sensibility, from the Zen way of doing things. So it's broader than just California.
Madame.
Oui, alors moi j'aimerais...
I have been looking at your pieces, and in each of them I see this journey from the beginning of life to death, with this time of video which represents life. And I would just like to tell you about a French psychoanalyst, very famous here, Jacques Lacan. He was saying, if you can't support life because you can't bear life because you know that you're going to die. You can only bear life because you know that you're going to die. Otherwise, how could you bear life if you didn't know that the final moment will come? Freud was saying the same thing. And what he means is that in your daily life, you have to be aware that death is there. And I would like to know what you think about that.
Death is here in this room, and it'll always be here in this room.
You can take that off.
And, oh, I'm talking to myself here. Excuse me, I have to talk to my friend. Thank you. Death is necessary. You know, we wouldn't be here if there was no death. That's what really disturbs me about some of these people today that are talking about extending human lifespans. I think that's a very, very dangerous idea. Because I can guarantee you that only the people with the most money are going to survive. And we don't want that to happen. So that's very, very important, the idea of death. I know people are afraid of it. I mean, I was afraid of it. But I was afraid of it when I was young. And I was lucky because at 6 years old, I almost had a near-death experience. I was very, very young. And fell in the water and went down to the bottom. And luckily my uncle realized I wasn't there, and he dove in and pulled me out. And when he pulled me out, I was pushing him away. And I didn't realize this, but I saw the most beautiful world with these kind of plants moving very slowly, the blue light coming down. You know, when you're underwater, it's absolutely beautiful. When you're underwater, there's no gravity, so you're floating. And I wanted to stay there. And if he didn't pull me out, I wouldn't be here right now. So I was lucky. But once I found that, then I wasn't afraid anymore.
Monsieur, et après.
Sir?
3 questions. The first one is to understand your way of working. Can you tell us if the starting point of your last work we can see here, the Dreamers, is totally different from the first work you are exposing here about the reflecting pool. The second question is...
can you wait? We'll take it one at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so... so the way of working, what was that?
Yes.
Similar to the way that the first piece and the last piece, from the reflecting pool
Right.
to the dream.
Yeah, it's true, because when you came to the exhibition, the first piece you saw was a reflecting pool. And that was one of the first pieces I made. Wasn't exactly the first one, but it was in that group. And that also was an expression of my near drowning experience. So that was always, I mean, that's why so many people comment that they always see me somehow connected to water. And I think that's true. I mean, even the electricity traveling through these devices here, you know, technically, they are actually a kind of flow. Electricity is a kind of flow, like water, sort of, in a way. So it's this active thing, this force that's constantly vibrating within us, outside of us, in these headphones here. And that's the human, that's the connecting thing. That's the thing that seems to be alive, you know. And it's really very, very special.
The second of...
On va passer à monsieur et on reviendra.
Yes, we'll give the floor to the person, because a lot of people have questions.
Monsieur.
Oh.
C'est pour ça qu'ils attendent.
No, they came here for the...
They didn't see the show, they're waiting, they would like to see it. Yes, I'm going to be short. I would like to tell you that I admire your work, and I was in Strasbourg. I saw your piece related to a painting, and your work is always very deep and very intelligent. I'm not talking about... When I look at the poster of the exhibition, what's interesting is this universal side and all the references that you use. For example, those who know Danae from the Greek text will think about Danae. There's also a relation to nature, insects, and I really believe that life is at the core of your videos. Please try to be short. Yes, but it's very complicated. People talk about cycles, death. What I see is life, mostly. And especially, I see a relation to Spinoza. I'm sorry, but you have to be short. So your work is first an idea from literature, which then becomes something related to nature. Nature inspires, amplifies your work. This is what I wanted to say.
Yes. No, just very quickly. I think people will find what they need. I think we make a big mistake in life, especially in education, because the educators want to give us all the information. So it's absolutely clear in it. And I don't agree with that. If you give someone too much information, like what's happening today in the world, then you create a kind of information overload. And it becomes a negative thing, because there's just too much information. Right now, we are living in an age that is filled with information coming at us from all sorts of things, from iPhones, from, personal computers, I mean, just anything you can imagine, billboards teaching us, telling us what deodorant to buy, It's kind of really very disturbing and shocking. So information in today's world, it was very necessary not that long ago. But in today's world, information is a kind of pollution. And so we have to separate that out, because the people that make these kinds of things, to get you to buy something, they don't care, they just want to make money. So, so all of this information coming over to us, it's very important too for young people, really, and even little kids too. We have to be very careful right now, because I remember when being with my father and mother, and it was so beautiful because everything was happening slowly, and they were doing things, and they were we were laughing together, and it was quiet. The space felt quiet, and really special. And I think that's really important today. That's something that I really feel that we really, really need to work with very, very soon, because it's becoming a really big problem.
Je sais que vous voulez tous voir l'exposition.
I know you all want to see the exhibition, so one last question before we go to see the exhibition. Who wants to ask the last question? Sir. The interpreter cannot hear the question. The interpreter cannot hear the question.
In your work, like water, fire, time, and man in situation of mutation. Can you talk about this nature of mutation?
Mutation.
And transformation.
Yeah, thank you. Transformation is one of the most important things in human beings' existence. Transformation is a power, a very deep and necessary power that is constantly working kind of under the radar screen, very slowly, and building a new human being. And that's happening all the time. It happens through the things we see, the things we read, the things we know. It also happens because of mistakes we made. I think making a mistake is one of the most important things for human beings, that you made a mistake. Okay, so that teaches you, all right, well, then I'll maybe go this way, right? You're in the car and you're driving, and then suddenly, without reason, you just see something and you just drive off the road. And so it's really this whole idea of human beings, the most a beautiful part of human beings, and sometimes dangerous too, is this idea that you can change, that we can change. You believed in something fantastic, and then all of a sudden you realize, wait a second, I don't really think that wasn't the right thing, and then you'll go off somewhere. You'll just take it yourself and go. So this idea of changing our mind, the most important thing that human beings do is they can change their minds. No, I don't like this. Yes, I like this. And then you come back again, and those two things are exactly flipped, and you change your mind. It's unbelievable.
Merci, Bill. Merci, Kira.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you very much, Kira. Thank you, all of you, and thank you our thanks to Florence Lemoine and the press relations team that organised the meeting. And now I invite you to embark on the journey that Bill Viola is offering to go to the exhibition. Thank you very much.